Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulullah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. We thank the Almighty Allah that has enabled us to reach this day. We know that whatever we do is not our making. Everything we do is guided under the mercy of the Almighty Allah that created us and created everything in this earth and in the waters and everywhere. So we praise and thank Him for giving us a valuable gift of life, and also for enabling us to do what we do and reach the level we are. Yeah, I have something to share with you. What I would like to talk about, you have always seen when you go to Facebook, they ask you what is on your mind. That is to trigger you to express yourself and give your opinion on several issues. So I would also like to talk about what is on my mind. I wanted to discuss issues about education, especially in my country where I come from, and that's Uganda. Education for our children, or in terms of school fees, has become unnecessarily expensive. And why am I saying this? I think you're going to agree with me that we have schools that charge even much more than $1 million in terms of school fees. Now, school fees is not an indicator of a good school, okay? Or it is not a fact that when you take your child to a school that pays much, that asks for much in terms of school fees, it's not guaranteed that your child will receive the quality education that you are looking for. Unfortunately, our parents have always thought that one of the indicators or one of the aspects to show that a school is good is by the fact that it is charging too much in school fees. That is not true. You're going to realize that when they charge that too much, and then you measure what they are teaching and how they are teaching, you may get surprised to find that those schools are not what you really expect out of them. And incidentally, parents now leave schools that are good and moderate in terms of charging school fees and opt for those schools with an aim that it will help their children. That is not true. The other myth that is there is about the beauty of the schools. You're going to realize that the schools have understood that the parents look at the beauty. They look at how decorated a school is to conclude that maybe it's a good school. You see, I'm not saying we should not beautify our school environments. I think it is a good thing to do. But what is bad is to conclude that a school that is well decorated, shining, and painted with beautiful colors has whatever it takes to help your child. That is a wrong assumption. Don't fall into that trick, into that trap. Just know that there is much more to that. So parents have always gone, checked school environments, then when they are satisfied with that, they conclude that basically the school is good for them to take their child to. Unfortunately, there are many other silent factors or silent indicators of a good school that one ought to look at and put into consideration. So don't let us as parents not fall into that trap. We need to be very careful, because many schools have realized that we just like good, beautiful schools, looking good, shining all the way, and we forget the other hidden aspects that make a good school. So, to end this video, I would like now to advise the parents on 4 things that they must put into consideration to understand what a good school is. 1, you need to make your own research about a school. Make sure you have the background information about that school. You can easily get this information. Incidentally, the people that give this information are the locals, the people surrounding the school. For example, the border guys, since they keep taking parents and they are interacting so much with the school, they take people everywhere, they can have hidden information, and I mean very vital information about a school, and they can give you that information. As a parent, you need it. Who knows, you might be taking your child to a school that is about to close, okay? Who knows, you may be taking your child to a school that has lost 2 children due to negligence, and you might not know. The beauty about it, or the good about it, that the locals, the people surrounding that school, can know. And when you take the information, you have to be objective, of course. You have to be objective. You don't say, take on whatever they say as gospel truth. You have to verify and find out whether what they are talking about is true, and then you make your conclusions. The other aspect is, when you go to school, there's pertinent questions you must ask school administrators, and these questions, when they are answered well by the school administrators, it will be an indicator to prove to you that the school knows what it is doing. For example, ask the administrators to know whether the school is legally registered. It's a legally registered school, because it's quite very important to understand the status of the school you are taking your child into. You know that they have closed very many schools just because they don't have the necessary requirements and standards to operate, and you could pay much money in school fees, and the only thing you get to hear is that the school is closing. So you don't want to get into that. You really want to be sure that the school is registered. Now, the trouble is that when you ask such questions, the parents, the teachers may not be patient with you. After when you go to a school which is very unprofessional, they are likely to ask you what indeed you really want to know about this. What does it? How does it concern you to know the what? the status, the gestation status of the school. But you really need to be firm and let them know that you, as a parent or a potential parent, you are a stakeholder, and therefore you need to know some vital information about the school. So know the status of the school and know whether it's registered or it is in process. They know the gestation process is also a long process. There are schools that start the process, and they can prove it that we have started this process, and we are sure that we shall complete it in this specified time. The other aspect question you can ask is about the curriculum. The curriculum. You need to understand what aspect of curriculum is offered at the school where you want to take your child. I know these are technical questions. A layman or a local parent may not be able to ask, but you can, if you are in a category of a parent that can ask how do you teach and how do you qualify a child to be promoted from one school to from one class to another, and what are the aspects of curriculum? What aspects of curriculum do you teach? You know very well that there are schools in Uganda that are taking on the Cambridge, these international schools. They are not doing the local, or they are blending the local curriculum with the international curriculums. So you need to understand this to see whether it fits the aspects of what your child should, or what you want your child to know. To get in that school. I know this is very technical, but I'm saying, talking to those parents that can ask it, because there are parents who are teachers like me, and they may be in position to ask that. The other aspect could be the environment. You now observe the environment. Ask whoever is admitting your child to be allowed to check the classroom environment. And when you go to the classrooms, this is what you should be looking at. Make sure you are checking on the space. Be keen on the classroom space, and you can ask questions like how many children are sitting or are taking their classes from this class. When they say, you now measure and see whether it's the appropriate. As teachers, we think that the more spacious a class is, the more it is convenient to learn, because the children, especially in the infants and the nursery schools, the children there like to play. They want space, because they learn through play. They learn through play, and therefore the more the space, the more you give them convenience to learn. So, and then you also look at the ventilations. Okay, does the class have the window? And when the children are in that class, can they be able to get enough air circulation and their ventilations and all that? This one is what you can check and see by your own self. You don't admit your child in an office and then chat with the head teacher or admissions officer, and then you get back to your car and get home. No. Go around the school, check classroom environments, check the general play area, and see how safe your child can be in such a setting, because there are school proprietors that have not thought about safety in their schools, especially in Nazareth schools. You need to know, as you are buying some of these play materials, are they safe for the children? Because we have registered very many accidents because of the nature of the play materials we have that are not maybe appropriate and suitable to our environments. Because you see, when you see these play materials used in other countries, European countries, that is the setting. This, our own setting, is very different. So you have to be keen about that and look at it. Finally, there are very many issues, but finally, you can, after that, look at the care, the child care and child support for the aspects of Nazareth schools. You are taking your child that is way below, that child is a minor, okay? You are actually sacrificing to release that child to a school. That child still needs you as a parent, but because of the school program, you want that child to be in school, but then you want to take that child to a school where there is support and enough child care. How do they handle their meals? What is the dietary? Because that child is going to have most of 70% of his or her time in the hands of the school, and therefore many things must be thought about. For example, how is the hygiene? Okay, how is the hygiene? And what happens when a child needs support? And what happens when a child abruptly gets sick? Okay, who handles this? And how can it be handled? So these are things you can get information, ask, okay, and see how you are answered about them. If the school is not prepared, it is not prepared. Even if they want to be, even if they have intentions of convincing parents and use nice words to attract them to their school, once they are not prepared, they are not prepared. You cannot offer what you don't have. You cannot give what you don't have. So you really need to check on that and see how it is handled. Child care and support is very important in our nursery schools or our junior schools, where we take our young ones to do what? To study. As I end today's talk, I'd like to, this video, this has been much more into the context, Ugandan context. So my brothers elsewhere, Cameroon and the other countries that I travel to, I may not have talked about these aspects in your own contexts. But now this is my humble appeal and advice. We need to, as government, to regulate how the schools charge the school fees from to the parents, because some of them have unnecessarily become very expensive, and that's how it is going from paying school fees objectively to extortion. You find a school that asks for money all the time. You are paying for brooms, you are paying for toilet rolls, you are basically paying for everything and all the time. So by the time the child finishes their journey, of education, you will have incurred a lot of expenses in the name of educating your child. So the government can check on this, regulate, and check, see, okay, this is the bottom, this is the ground, I mean the level where we cannot go. That's the ceiling where we cannot go, so that we can know how to help parents not get exploited and to reduce on the extortions that are happening in the schools. Then the other aspect is also ensuring that the standards are maintained. Okay, I remember, I don't know whether we still have that that department in the Ministry of Education about standards, ESA, Education Standards Agency. That I remember one time that was a department responsible for ensuring that the standards are met and respected. So we need to ensure that at least the schools have minimum standards to operate. Of recent, I was reading in the news. I was looking at the news. I checked that we've lost, just in 2 weeks back, we've lost about 4 children in schools, and out of negligence, and out of aspects that safety has not been thought about. So government should come in and force school proprietors to maintain standards. Thank you so much. This just was on my mind, and I thought I would share it with you. When you get time, subscribe to my YouTube channel, so we keep talking about these aspects and sharing ideas. Thank you so much.